Speaking of gatekeeping.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes.
If you guys think people are funny about roads, wait till you get to events at Car Week. Boy, that is a whole shebang.
This week on That Car Show, my M3 Rises from the Dead is back on track. We talk about Dinos and how people feel about them. And Ryan's going to explore the genesis of the family sedan. There's a serious debate about gatekeeping. And we share what we're up to next. We're That Car Show. Thanks for joining us. You can cut that last part.
Hey folks, and welcome to this week's episode of That Car Show. The gang is all back together. This week, I think to increase the YouTube following, we need to mention things like hardcore drugs. What else? What else do we need to mention to get that algorithm
Human
going?
trafficking, cartels, car theft,
AK-47s,
politics.
We should get into politics.
yeah, and then maybe religion. So the inside joke there is that we're on YouTube as well as obviously all the different Spotify and Apple and everything else. But our YouTube channel kind of blew up because I think we had the name cannabis in the title of the last week's episode. So
that or Brian's got a lot of friends.
Yeah, maybe that's
why not both?
Maybe that's it.
Crack the code.
Yeah. Good to have another cruise show this week, and good to see you folks. What have you guys been up to?
I'm fresh off a track day today.
Was that the M3?
Yes, it was back out on track for the first time in at least 6 years, but probably more. Yeah. So Performance, which is the driving school out at Pacific Raceways, and they're in Kent, Washington, but that's the local track for the Seattle area. This was their 23rd year doing a women's track day, and they call it Women Setting the Pace. And so Don and Donna Kitch run the school, and their daughter Sienna is now in charge of marketing, I believe. And so they were running the event, and they did a little kind of look back retrospective of the school and how they got started. And Donna said this was their 23rd year hosting. And she said it took, when they first started doing it, there were so few women participating that it was like a couple women and then the rest were men. And she said it took 10 years to get to the point where it was enough women for a full event dedicated just to women. But this year they had 2 full days, sold out both days. So, and it was like when I pulled into the paddock this morning, I went, oh my gosh, it's busy, which is a good sign. So it was really fun. I was able to take the M3, which was really cool, and thanks to my super amazing fiance, obviously, for all of his effort. We discovered tonight that the PPF that he finished taking off yesterday, which looked like it was a science experiment.
Yeah.
The PPF was put on the car in 1998.
Oh my God, they had PPF in 1998.
Well, and so I have the original invoice because the original owner is the one that put it on. And PPF wasn't a common thing like it is today in 98. And it was not even close to the full car. And it was $450 in 1998.
Wow. That just sounds like a big roll of sellotape, isn't it?
You would think. Well, and we discovered it was on the headlights too, because they looked like they had just,
plastic.
It looked like they had just clouded over. And then he was like, wait a minute, this is PPF. Peeled it off and the headlights look good as new.
This Troy is a hell of a guy. I've got a couple stalled projects around my place. If you want,
I'll send him to Denver as soon as he's done here. So expect him in like 3 years.
Well, if you don't know, this car sat. This was your old track car, E36, awesome silver 4-door M3, and it had literally been sitting for how many years?
It was parked in 2019.
2019,
and then I have towed it with me as I've moved in the intervening years. Wondering why I was dragging this giant automotive paperweight with me and like questioning, but thank goodness I did because it runs better than it ever has in my entire ownership. And it was really cool to be out on the track in it today because when I bought it, I was so determined that I had to find a 4-door so I could take people in it. And then after that, I got into high performance driving and the car evolved into a track car. It now has no back seat. It has a half cage. So needless to say, I'm not taking people in it, certainly not in the back seat. And it was really, really fun. It was fun to be out on the track, period, because it's been very sporadic for me in the last few years. and most recently it's been out at Big Willow. So it
Yeah.
had been the last time I was out at Pacific, Donna and I were talking about it. I think it was 2022 for another Women's Day. So it's been a few years since I've been out on track there. I've been at Willow in the meantime. But it was really cool because the driving line came back really easily, like the muscle memory. But I feel like I do, like, for whatever reason, I now am able to feel the balance of the car better. Like, that was always a struggle for me when I was learning, because they'd say, like, oh, yeah, you'll feel it, weight different ways, or like you'll get, information through your seat. And I could never feel it. And I think partly because the car was set up so stiffly, but I think driving the different Mustangs helped because they're heavier enough that it gave me a sense for that. And so I think I picked up on what I should be feeling, and I can find that in the M3. So that was really cool. And then just learning to trust the car again. And there was a little bit of, like, when I did the Defender event and we did the downhill, you have to take your foot off the brake and you're not braking going down the hill, which is counterintuitive.
Sure.
But it makes you trust the equipment.
Yeah.
And so trusting, when the braking zone ends, trusting the car to take my foot off the brake and just like, no, the car has the grip. You just have to trust it. So it was really cool.
We got
Good
a good
job
crew.
you weren't in a brand new Corvette. I don't know if you folks have seen the video, but at Laguna Seca,
Oh my gosh.
Terrifying.
the brakes failed on the Corvette and the corkscrew, and it just kept going.
This is brake by wire, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So what went wrong?
It's
This was
part of the
a
discussion.
line of code. I mean, what had they been modified? I mean,
Apparently,
because
there's
this
a
wouldn't
recall.
happen in a 30-year-old E36. Which, by the way, when did
Yeah.
E36 get to be 30 years old?
I don't know, because I'm only 35, so that math doesn't.
No, it doesn't work.
So what's the consensus? Sorry, on the Corvette. Like, what? Can you describe what happened? Because it was a very dramatic video.
Yeah, so at the top of Laguna Seca, so you ascend up to the top of the hill at the track, at the far back of the track, and then you come face to face with the corkscrew,
Right.
which is a very high gradient, left turn, right turn that takes you down through part of the track, but at a large elevation drop.
Yeah.
So at this first corner, instead of turning left, you obviously brake to make the corner. The car kept going on, went through the sand track or the stone track, and just completely fell apart. Luckily, the guy driving it walked away,
Right.
but it's not, it's all trust in that car is gone.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and I think the video was so dramatic, and obviously it looked like he was going to be seriously injured, if not more. But yeah, the entire right side of the car slammed into the tire wall, like almost at speed. Because like you said, Dan, like the dirt didn't slow him down at all. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the back straight going into the corkscrew. So you've built up a lot of speed, and then you need to brake. And so not only did he not have brakes, but he had built up more speed than other portions of the track, I think. So it just exacerbated it.
Yeah, you are going uphill before you hit so you do lose a little bit of speed. But I'm curious then, so now the PPF has gone, does that mean it's time to put a livery on that BMW? And I think our listeners should tell us what livery you should put on that car.
Oh, I like that idea. Yeah, send in your submissions. I want to see, and then we'll pick a winner.
It was
I am
Keep it clean.
If we're
Or not.
if we're saying like anything's on the table, I am partial to the Mercedes that Tori and I saw that was covered in purple Muppet fur at Crystal Cove in April. I mean,
That's just going to mess with your aero.
it's not good. And we saw the day we saw it, it had been raining, and I'm like, ooh, if that's ever an advertisement for don't cover your car with fur, because it rains. Yeah, no, definitely considering like some M stripes or something at a minimum. But I'm open to people's amazing ideas. So let's hear it.
Yeah, there were quite a few famous BMW liveries, right?
Yeah.
Things like Coors Beer and Hofmeister and
Do
That
an
one
art
I
car.
really
Do a Jackson Pollock or something, right? Like
an art car.
It'd be cool.
Ooh,
I don't think they ever did an E36
No, but that would be
M3 art car.
that's why it's clever, Dan.
yeah, I love it.
No, I think it's genius. I'm not saying it's not clever.
Yeah, because it hasn't been done yet.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe
Or
that's a
right,
fun.
You went to art college.
Yeah.
That's right.
Guys, I've got 5 more months of student loan payments, and then I'm free.
Woohoo!
I'm
So
50. I'll be turning. It's the day I turn 50. Well, no, I will have been 50 for a couple months when it's all said and done.
Close enough. Good enough
Yeah.
for government work. So I think maybe, yeah, I try to do like an art piece anytime I move. And so maybe this time the art piece is something that moves. And that's the family art project this summer.
Oh.
We splatter the car or something like that.
Has Banksy ever done a car? Could you do something like terribly ironic that, with commentary on like the state of the world? And
Just tape a
2025?
banana on the roof and see how long it lasts.
There we go.
There you go.
And then put it
Not
through a
Banksy.
shredder.
Yeah.
Then sell the pieces. And then
When
you're
you
an artist.
accelerate, the shredder runs. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah,
shredded,
it's
how about that
interactive.
Nürburgring crash with the GT3 RS?
Oh my gosh.
And what was it? Was it an M3?
M2.
M2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have been going back and forth about whose fault it was. I think the best, sort of most tempered opinion I've heard on this is it Misha Schaudrin, who does the Nürburgring YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And, basically said, why does it have to be one person's fault, right? It's a track day, so you have, at least on the Nürburgring, you have street rules, right? If you get in a crash, it's investigated by the Polizei and all this. And so it wasn't one person, it wasn't the other. I mean, that's another one where I thought for sure there'd be a death. And I think,
It did not look, and I've seen pictures of the guy in the 911.
Yeah.
And there was some, and he didn't even have, he may have had a helmet, definitely didn't have a
no,
Hans,
I don't think he even had a helmet.
I think he didn't have a
Yeah,
helmet, so
yeah.
definitely didn't have a Hans.
Yeah.
And his injuries for not having a helmet and as severe as that crash
Mm-hmm.
was, it's incredible. But yeah, I heard some of Misha's kind of evaluation of it too.
Yeah.
And one thing that I thought was interesting is he was talking about, and this goes for a lot of events and a lot of driving, if you're the slower car, it's your responsibility to obviously not cut over in front of somebody
Right.
and that kind of thing. And it looked
Right.
like that might have happened with the M2. But to your point, Ryan, it's your job to just be aware. If you're on the track, I always joke that I excel at traffic management, but it's like joking, not joking, because really I just try to be aware of where everybody is. And there was a little bit of something could have been tricky today where I think it was an honest miscommunication, but the person interpreted that they were being pointed by when they weren't. And it was at a time where the other car was about to come over into where they were going to be. So ultimately it's everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
So on a different note and probably less morbid note, Ryan, the last time I was on this podcast, you were trying to hunt down a specific car that you had been promised for an article, and the car had disappeared.
Yeah.
Now, is there an update?
Low so many weeks ago. So this is a car, guys, I didn't even know existed. Do you know about the Genesis G90?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen one.
I don't know that
You see the GX90, the SUV, you see the smaller sedans now and again, but this is their $90,000 plus luxury sedan, right? So at least on paper, it plays in the same, space as like an S-Class or a 7 Series, even if the price point is lower.
This is actually, I take it back. This is the one I just saw in Le Mans.
They're pretty good looking, and Genesis is killing it with these wheel designs. Yeah, they're massive, right?
They're Maybach-esque.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's an expensive car, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll drive like one. I have driven the SUV. I've driven some of the smaller sedans, but Genesis is, I don't know if the styling is for everyone, but they're doing some cool things. I think they are at the top of the wheel game right now. They're doing some fractal inspired designs. But anyway, I wanted to get this for a week just to see what it was all about. I pitched an article to Autoblog. Tell me if this is clever or if it's just stupid, but the title, Can a Family ... Sedan? Because no one shops sedans, right? No family in their right mind in 2025 is buying a sedan, right? But I think even here in Colorado, where everyone thinks they need an SUV or needs a crossover, I think it's a compelling case because it sure seems to be a hell of a car. But it's been I guess what I'm getting at is there aren't many. I think there's one bouncing around in the press fleet, and
in the US.
Right. If I wanted an SUV, would have had one the next day. But I want to be, I guess, contrarian and try the sedan. And so I get one week after next to spend the week with it. I'm really excited.
That's amazing.
Because it's been a while since I've been in like a luxury sedan, right, of any ilk.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before, like what constitutes luxury in 2025, right? It used to be, build quality, right? And then I think it was materials, and then it was tech. Well, now everything is built well. Everything has decent materials, and everything has tech, right? So where does that leave this car? So I'm excited about it. Thank you, Genesis. I know it's been a lot of doing to get this, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm excited.
And toes crossed.
This is why this job is good, guys, right? This thing we do has its perks, because basically I'm given this car for a week and basically told to take your family on vacation, right? I still don't think we'll eat in it, much like our own vehicles, but it'll be fun. Do you know anything about this car? I mean, what
outside of seeing it and being very confused because it looked so Maybach-esque. It has such a presence.
Yeah.
Like I saw it. It was out. There were 3 of them in the parking lot, like the field in Le Mans where you park.
I wonder if Ryan's getting one of those 3.
They're like, it has been
on
off-roaded.
the Myers-Manx plane right now.
Yeah. But it, like we saw it from a distance and went, we have to go see what that is. Like, we had to get up close. So it definitely like has a presence. The design like was intriguing enough where we're like, wait a minute, because it's massive, but we knew it wasn't anything we'd ever seen before.
No, and you never see them. We were talking with our buddy Michael Assassa, who's been on the show before this episode, and we were talking about the Hummer HV. EV rather. And when was the last time you saw one of those? We had one at Car Week last year, and Car Week is coming up again. And I think I've maybe seen 2 or 3 in the year that's year since. But
I'm seeing a lot of those up here all of a sudden.
Up in Seattle, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Lease deals?
I don't know. Yeah. So.
Random.
Well, I'm excited about this thing. Again, I've not been in a luxury sedan like that of that size, right? Of that bulk in a long time. It'll be very interesting. I think the design, the exterior design, is a little discombobulated, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like in person. And hell, after seeing that new Bentley sedan, this thing looks like Miss America. So was it Lieberman that posted the 2 cars, posted a poll about what was the concept? Was it the 1000 or the beautiful Bentley sedan that was kind of like a hyper exaggerated version of the current sedan? And then there is this new thing, which looks a bit like Jaguar, the thing that
Jaguar.
they came. Yeah.
It's now like a reflex. It's not me being
Jaguar,
rude.
sorry. Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
I even said it today to the head of marketing at Jaguar. So just as a heads up for North America.
Nice. Well, I'm a stickler for Porsche, so I probably should be a stickler for Jaguar as well.
There we go.
Say, yeah. I was.
Anyway.
Somebody said Porsche within earshot at Rensport, and I was like, are we being serious?
It's Dan. It's your countrymen. It's your fellow British car media people who they hedge their bets and they will actively say both ways in any production, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
It's like, well, pick a side.
I had a press car last weekend. So I was.
It might be cooler than the one I'm.
Well,
tell us about this.
It might be quicker. I'm not sure if it was as luxurious. So I was lucky enough to have the keys to a Mustang Dark Horse for the weekend. No. So this is obviously not going to be the most highest performance Mustang that they do, but it's one down. This is 500 horsepower. Wow. It was a manual. It had there's a tuning kit for it that Ford make. So it was about $75,000. And which for $75,000 or even $65,000, I don't think there's many other cars you can get with 500 horsepower, is there? I can't think of many other. Maybe can you get a C8 for that, or
for how much?
No, actually,
I think the base price of it was like 65,000.
No, I think isn't a Corvette closer to 80?
No.
Stripper,
Yeah,
Stingray.
Yeah. And maybe again we'll ask our viewers and listeners to tell us brand new cars, what's the cheapest way to get into 500 horsepower?
Yeah.
Which in essence is the same as a GT3 right now.
It is. And we should probably qualify that with gasoline-powered horsepower, right? Because I
Versus
think there are
electric
probably
or-
some,
Oh, that's true.
yeah, so
Yeah.
probably some
Yeah.
electric deals, right? Which
Yeah.
would qualify.
which would
but-
get you in. That's a really good point. So anyway, I
Not
had
the
this
same.
car for the weekend.
Yeah. So what did you think?
So it was good. I did a lot of canyon carving. So I don't know, have you guys been to the Rock Shop?
No.
Only seen
So
it in
this-
pictures.
Yeah, this is a location up in the Malibu Hills, and it's a diner, coffee, but it's not a big place. But all around there are some fantastic canyon driving roads.
This has been a bike destination for a long time, right? Like
Yes,
Harleys.
motorbike.
And, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's a big bike location.
Cool.
So it was manual. They do an automatic as well, but I had the manual one.
That's super fun.
I guess my high-level commentary is the car makes you work for it, but it's worth the work.
mean,
It's
as it
more
should
of a
be,
workout
right?
than a Porsche, right?
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
you're having to find your gears. You're having to, really manage that weight because it's a heavier car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I don't know, Lindsay, have you driven a Dark Horse?
I haven't, but I was thinking when you were, it sounds like it may be the modern equivalent to like when they came out with the GT350R because it was in that price point.
Yeah.
And as far as like getting a performance car for that price, that was one of the few at the time. And maybe it sounds like that's the current
It's the
offering.
natural
Yeah.
progression.
But I love that you had the manual.
You drew a GT3 comparison. Would this sort of be the GT3 to like the GT's Carrera S? Because what are you getting over the GT, I guess is my question.
The
extra
GT3,
dough.
I mean.
You mean the GT, which is the V8, right?
Right.
So you're getting better handling. You're getting a different gearbox because you can get, I think, the V8 in a. But this is what's the right name of it? Traumatic. No,
Oh,
it's very traumatic.
Tremec.
That was
Tremec.
just-
Yeah.
Traumatic.
Yeah.
It was traumatic for my passengers, but it was traumatic.
Who was your
Tremec gearbox.
passenger, Dan? Like,
That
good
was
on them
Freudian.
for.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, various people that wanted white knuckle rides, but you get a better gearbox, better brakes. It's got big Bosch brakes. Is it Bosch? It's not Bosch, is it?
Oh, Brembo.
It's, Brembo.
Yeah.
I need
That
to.
was Spark
But Bosch makes a mean fridge, I'll tell you that.
There we go. Yeah, the brakes.
They used to make spark plugs.
There we go. Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
But
In
not very
Germany,
good ones,
even.
right?
Yeah.
But it was a good car. Like I
Yeah.
think Ford have done a really good job with that car. I think it's a car that will appeal to people that like muscle cars.
Hmm.
I think people that are looking for something a little bit more. I mean, I guess it was like a sledgehammer versus a scalpel.
Yeah.
So if you want a scalpel, you're looking at something German. If you want something that's got, and it gets a lot of looks on the freeway as well. People are like, people in older Mustangs are really giving you the thumbs, and yeah, it was good.
Is this a
fun.
big wing and all this? Or
Yeah,
or
big
what's
wing on the back.
Yeah.
Big. If you look at it, it almost looks like a horse from the front because it's got big nostrils for air intake. And I think it's the first time that a Mustang has had a badge that is a head-on picture of a horse.
Ah,
Yeah.
right.
It's always been the side profile.
It's always had a
Yeah.
flattened horse going the wrong way in years past, right?
Careful.
That was always bothering me about the Mustang. Why is it going to the left, right? We all know that to the right means forward progress, right?
Yeah. So this car is for Ryan.
So what did you think when you were driving in the canyons? How did it feel? Did you notice, did it feel balanced and responsive? Did you notice the weight shifting a lot? Like, what was the feel in the canyon?
Yeah. I liked the way the car rotated. So it had a good rotation. It's a heavy car though, right? That's
Yeah.
Do we know how much it weighs?
the 4,000 pounds.
I mean, yeah, that's 900 pounds more than a GT3, right?
Yeah.
So that's-
It's not nothing.
And it's so
Yeah.
much bigger.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a totally different animal.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time I was in second gear doing the canyon corners and stuff. There were times when I had to change down and stuff. So you are working out when you're driving this car
Yeah.
in more of a way than you would be in a GT4.
Is it a rever or is it? When does the power come in and what's the red line, if you recall?
Yeah, I mean, the power's pretty instant. But, I think the red line was... I don't know. I only hit it a couple of times, but yeah. I mean, this was canyon stuff, so you're cornering all the time, so you don't really get to the red lines.
Yeah.
Right.
You're shopping for a car, sort of in this.
Yeah,
Class,
I
I mean-
test drive a 4.0. So last time I think I was on the podcast, we were talking about me looking at these Boxsters,
Yeah.
and I did test drive a Boxster 4.0, but it wasn't the right car for a number of reasons, and
Tell
I
us
think
everything.
for me, the first thing is really important is the dealership. So before I've even got to the car, and I won't say which dealership, but I didn't feel comfortable in the dealership, which I think psychologically doesn't set you up to want to buy a car.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it
it's
puts
true.
you
You
on
get
edge.
on the defensive
Yeah.
right away. Yeah.
And then I got to look at the car, and there was a whole load of body damage, which they'd very cleverly hidden in the pictures.
No.
Really.
On the bottom skirt, they'd hidden in these pictures. So I still took it for a test drive. It was the PDK. I want to try the manual next because I don't think the PDK is right for that car. I think it's right for other cars, but not that car.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's all a great experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
like
learn
the
something
idea of
every
you.
time.
Yeah, I like the idea of using a GTS 4.0. And I understand that they're actually more rare than the GT4. Maybe you told me that. I can't recall. But it sure seems like a lot of them have been wrecked for some reason. A lot of them seem to have branded titles because once you started talking about driving this car, then of course I went down the rabbit hole because I'm not shopping for anything, so I have to live vicariously through my friends like you. And
have to
there are very
help.
few around. Very few
Well, I
good
found
ones.
another one in Houston that was manual, but the bodywork on it was awful.
Oh,
And this is like a 22-year car. So I guess those cars have been abused a lot.
yikes. That's, yeah.
Which is weird because I think generally Porsche drivers are good drivers. And I think that's proven by insurance rates.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I would, I think, I don't know, maybe the tables are turning and the Mustang is the, it's the value
So,
proposition.
like, watch this. Or there's something about that model that attracts people.
That's weird because you
have
think it might
trouble.
be the GT4 just because of the wing or whatever, but that's interesting.
Well, but in terms of like actually being able to get into one of them, I don't know. Maybe that's,
Yeah.
I don't know. So
we'll keep looking.
Right. The search continues.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next chapter of what's Dan going to be driving before long.
Or at least
Would
test driving.
Would you, I mean, in a million years, would you consider the dark horse or was it like a fun car to borrow?
I want a convertible.
Okay. And there's no dark
So-
horse convertible.
No, and I think the dynamics of the car, if they chopped the top off that car, it wouldn't work, just
No.
from a dynamics perspective.
Yeah.
But this weekend, I'm heading up the coast, and I've hired a Mustang.
Ooh.
Just a regular one, not a V8 or anything. Because I've talked about this before, but like, they're almost like the Beta equivalent. You have it in watch world. You have a Beta, which is a watch you wear. You don't mind if it gets scuffed up, but you're still proud of the watch, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I see the Mustang as a rental.
Yeah.
It's the Beta of the rental car world, and it does a great job. And you take the top down, and so
So you have a convertible for the road trip?
convertible Mustang. So
Very nice. Well, it's
You
such
guys
an
know-
iconic road trip. You kind of picture, like, especially going up the California coast, like a convertible Mustang is pretty perfect for that.
yeah, I did look at the Corvette. It was 3 times the amount, but they had a mileage limit of 300 miles.
Oh,
And I'm going to be doing more than 300 miles.
Well, that
So
doesn't
Is Hertz or Enterprise?
this is Enterprise, who I think need to sponsor this show to Enterprise.
Well,
No Enterprise.
you guys know that I've been a Hertz proponent for many, many years, right? I have my little hacks and all that.
Until you
but,
get the press cars.
yeah. But I am anti-Hertz all of a sudden because have you heard about these scanners that they're using when you return a car?
Yeah.
Now, I
Yes.
think it's probably primarily at airport locations. My little neighborhood location on East Colfax in Denver probably doesn't have one of these, but it literally scans the car, every angle, every surface, can pick up on anything from a curved wheel to a ding, and you get charged automatically. And to me, that just sounds like a nightmare. I'm always the guy out there taking my own video and stuff, but how do you argue against that without trying to do a chargeback on your credit card or something? And I've heard the argument too, like it's a rental car, right? I mean, it's going to pick up a scuff or two. I don't think what was the Seinfeld episode where Jerry's at the counter and he's trying to get a car and they're giving him crap or whatever, and he finally gets one, and and the lady says, drive safely, and he says something to the effect of, well, I'm going to beat the living crap out of this car, but I think that's kind of the mentality we all go into with a rental car to some degree. So
Well,
I
or
don't
there's
know.
an element of like stuff happens. Like because part of travel is you're in unfamiliar
right
parking garages and
Right.
streets and all of that. And I think you can be the most conscientious driver ever. You're in a car that's likely not familiar to you,
Yeah.
with dimensions that you're getting used to, and you might be in a, especially if you're in a city, stuff happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it takes out the element of like, if you want to go in and say like, hey, I did curb the wheel, I was in this weird garage, or
Right.
like,
Right.
takes out the ability to discuss
Right.
it and sort of find an amenable solution for all parties.
Right. Right. And a curved wheel is one of those things you could traditionally get away with, I think, in a rental car.
Yeah.
But not anymore. But of course, Hertz will say, "Well, just buy the comprehensive coverage, and we're good,
And
right?"
that's going to help pay for the scanner.
That's all.
Isn't it? I once drove a Maserati Quattroporte over a concrete bollard in a car park. I didn't see
Really?
it. Yeah, I didn't see it, and I just had this massive crunch.
dear.
Luckily, I had the full insurance, so I was fine.
Nice. Nice.
But that
We-
was an interesting
And
conversation.
thank you for your time.
You talk about not knowing the dimensions of the car. The last time I had a V8 GT, Ford GT, Mustang GT rental car, we had a hailstorm coming, and I was going to try to stick the nose of it, at least in my garage, while this hailstorm that never came was supposed to come. And I, because I just had no idea about the size of the car, and I drove it right into the bumper of my old Cayman, and it had two little marks from the license plate on the Mustang GT that I was out there with a hair dryer. And I could never get over those two little marks from the.
Well, especially when you're trying to do the conscientious thing and prepare for the weather and protect a car that's not even yours.
I know.
And then
That's
for
what
the
I
weather
get.
to never even arrive. That's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
come on.
And that's the difference between a 3,000-pound car and a 4,000-pound
There
car.
you go.
Now you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had I was talking last weekend at a cruise in, specifically about some of the events that have happened over the last week in Los Angeles, and in particular there was a death on the Crest Highway,
Yeah.
and it was on a Friday, and by all accounts the person that passed was heading to Good Vibes Breakfast Club. And the reason I raised that was because the conversation I had about that with these people were regulars at Good Vibes, and they were actually attributing part of the blame for the popularity and how Good Vibes has become more successful to the Road and Track article. Was it Road and Track or Car and Driver? Car and Driver?
Farrah wrote, yeah.
I think it was
Road Track. Road Track. Yeah.
Road and Track. And they said that had it not been for that article, that the location, the event wouldn't have become so popular. And sometimes well-kept secrets should stay well-kept secrets. Ryan, I know you and I were talking earlier in the week, and you mentioned that you had been on this fantastic road and that you really wanted to write about it, but, are you betraying your fellow car lovers? So I just wondered what you folks thought about that in terms of, should these things become sacred and secret, or should they be publicized?
I think it changes the consideration, obviously, when people are losing their lives. But I don't think that's, unfortunately, Angeles Crest, there have been accidents on Angeles Crest for a long time. Like it's, especially to people in Southern California, like it's known as like a challenging road to drive in the sense of like you can get over your head quickly if you're not being smart, which I think people have been doing that a lot longer than because the article is relatively recent.
I think it's more that the popularity of Good Vibes now means that there's a lot more cars and a lot more people that are driving more dangerously. Because Good Vibes used to be a little community, right, of people that everyone knew each other. Everyone was, as it says in the name, Good Vibes.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that
So was it-
quantifiable? I've been to a handful, but I'm not local, obviously, to LA. I mean, is you two, I think, probably have been to more than I have, and especially over the span of time. Have you? I mean, have you actually seen that, or is that just hearsay? And is this article just a scapegoat, or is this?
I feel like the article is a scapegoat in part because it's so recent. Because I think, I've known about Good Vibes for a long time, well before I had the chance to go because of social media.
Yeah.
And I think that was well before the article. But I think, I think the article is a scapegoat. It's possible that it reached, it did make it reach a wider audience. I mean, it's definitely gotten busier, but my impression before this, take on it was just that was word getting out over social media and just kind of organic growth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely gotten bigger, but I think that happens with a lot of events because car people are always looking for something to celebrate their hobby with and meet
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like-minded people. I think, unfortunately, this one's at the top of a road that can get away from you if you don't drive conscientiously, or, you can outdrive your talent,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious what you think, Dan.
Oh, Ryan, were you going to say something before
Well, no, I just, this, you mentioned this road that I got to drive on recently, and it was me and my buddy Colin in his GT3 Touring, and then our buddy Kurt from Eat Sleep Drive on YouTube in his 991.1 GT3. And then there was a 997.2 GT3, and then there was a very cool Audi B7 RS4, which is a very cool car, but just it was pretty much outclassed, I think, by the Porsches, is want to happen. But I was introduced to a road I'd never driven. It was fantastic. If you know Colorado roads, you know that most of our roads, our good roads, are canyon roads, second and third gear. This was the rare road that I got into fourth gear a few times in a GT4 with long gears. So we were flying. The road was fantastic. It had a little bit of everything, which is, I think, one of the keys to a good road. And I want to spread the gospel, but I know that, not that our platform is so huge, but that's a road that could be very easily ruined. And it's a road much like Angeles Crest where you could really get in and over your head very quickly. And I had a couple of close calls, and I'd like to think I know what I'm doing. So, it's tough, right? And I think the older I get, the less likely I am to just go driving with people I don't know. Anymore, I tend to drive with people who I know are good drivers, who kind of have a similar skill set, who I know are not going to get in over their heads. It's just, it's not us though, it's everyone else. And that's the problem. I've heard about this from people on motorcycles for a long time, right? You can be the best cyclist in the world, best rider in the world, but it's that other person who's looking at their phone or whatever. And it sounds like maybe that's what happened on Angeles Crest, that the person who was killed was not necessarily the one at fault.
No, it sounds like the car that hit them understeered and went into their lane head on.
Yeah.
But Ryan, you were talking about like we are at the mercy of other people's choices too. I mean, and that's true, like on the road, on these canyon roads. That's true at the racetrack. Like, I mean, the number of stories I've heard where somebody comes around a corner on Angeles Crest and there's somebody in the lane making a three-point turn or whatever. I mean,
a lot.
like there was that accident within the last year with the two 911s. I think one was the GT3 RS, and the engine, the pictures were stunning because one of them, the engine had just been shorn right off, sitting in the road by itself. And I think that was, one of them was making a turn, I think, like in the middle of the road. And so I think it's easy to blame the article because I think especially an accident like that where a young enthusiast, loses their life, that's awful. And I think we try to make sense of things like that, which really don't make sense. And so I think it's easy to scapegoat the article, but I think it's more nuanced than that. I think it's I think the word has gotten out in general, like social media, word of mouth, the article. People are always looking for good roads to drive.
Yeah.
And, other people's choices. Like, we all make our choices, and I think that impacts, more than us oftentimes.
Yeah. It's managed risk, right? And I say, hey, I was in fourth gear. Well, fourth gear in my car is a very fast speed, and should I be doing that on public roads? Probably not, right? And I will... Yeah, it's tough. It's getting, the older I get, that's a tougher sort of argument to make, right? Like that this is okay, right?
It's like how much you can justify it more easily when you're younger, and I think especially, I have definitely thought like, am I being a responsible parent to go up and do that? And I've been in my SUV when I go up Angeles Crest because that's what I have available. But it's like, am I like, even if I'm doing everything right? I'm aware, like we're still, the other things can happen, and so it's like, it just changes the calculus.
But Ryan, how would you feel if a journalist tomorrow wrote about that road, and then the next time you went to use that road, there was 20 other, similarly like-minded people using the road?
I know. And I'd like to say it was altruistic, but it's purely a selfish thing. I think that I wouldn't want that. It's tough. Obviously I write for Autoblog. I'm certainly no Johnny Lieberman or Matt Farah in Road and Track, but these are, I want to talk about the roads I drive, right? I want to, it's part of the story, right? And I think that there are a couple here close to Denver that, they're not secrets, right? So I think it's okay to talk about, but like this one that I was on, I'll say it starts with a T. If you know, you know. If you don't, you won't.
The fact that you had never been introduced to it, as much
something,
driving as you do
right?
in the area, and as long as you've lived there, like that does speak to like it's a less well known than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I'd be a little pissed. I think I don't want to dump on Matt Farah because I feel like it's not like he uncovered a secret.
We're dumping on. It's more the emphasis of like letting secrets become non-secrets through different mediums, right?
Yeah. But I think it kind of goes to like, I think that's such an intrinsic element of the car community is like we find each other because of the love of cars and driving, and I think a big part of that is like sharing our cars, but also like check out this amazing drive I just did.
Yeah,
like that's such a part of it. And I think it's easy to point at the article because it's very visible. But it's think of the number of conversations you have.
Here's the compromise, right? Ryan, you drive it in the Genesis, you write about it, and then people will either want to read it or not.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. You have to tell the whole story, right?
Yeah.
And here's the other argument. It's kind of a term du jour, but gatekeeping. Right. Who are we to decide, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. Now I'm going to shut the door. Right. There's that too.
I think that, because it changes the hobby if we suddenly get like hoardy about like, well, this is my road. And if you think about it, that's like very contrary to the essence of Good Vibes, which Jay and Nicole obviously went to great pains to say like, this is not an official, it's not a club, it's not anything. It's just like, we're going up, and if you're up there and you're like-minded, we're very happy to have you. Like it's all love, and so it's interesting, or it's like ironic, like definitely thought-provoking to think that like even some things started with that intent that wasn't like they didn't start it, something that has grown.
And this is nothing new. Think about like Mulholland Drive back in the day, right? There were organized races. What's that, Dan? That's
Tail of the Dragon.
Tail of the Dragon. You could say that jumped the shark, right? The dragon jumped the shark a long time ago. And then, of course, the argument is there are better roads, miles from that, right? It's tough. It's not a new argument, but cars are faster than ever. More people have access to performance than ever. But I guess who are we to police it? But at the same time, it's a tough.
I think if anything, road to walk. The sort of call to action or like the hope is, just kind of hammering home the like, leave your ego at home if at all possible. Like, just because if people start not enjoying it responsibly and people are getting hurt obviously and killed, that ruins it for everybody. And it's the same, like on a non-fatal scale, it's the same idea if you look at Malibu Kitchen. Like that was an amazing Cars and Coffee. It got popular and it got shut down. Like look at like it's sort of cyclical. It's just unfortunate that Good Vibes is now experiencing an element of that too.
Once it's no longer underground, right? It's
because
but something else will replace it, right? Or maybe even those same people will end up going somewhere else, the OGs or whatever. It's just.
So on Friday at 7 a.m., I'll be at the Rock Shop, and if anyone wants to join me, I won't be in a Mustang this week, but
Dan's the new Pied Piper of the LA car scene.
The Rock Shop is where it's at.
That's cool. I've never heard of that place, so I'm excited to check it out.
There's canyons around it. There's two different routes. Really good routes.
I'm excited to explore.
I guess in the end, there's a time and a place, right? And you can drive spiritedly and safely, right? But you have to take into consideration, who else is on the road, what the weather's like, what car you're in, what your skill set is, right? It's just. It's not the same formula every time you go out, right? And sometimes, I go out and I'm just not feeling it. And then I start slipping up and I'm like, all right, It's time. And other times you're on it
Yeah.
and it feels good and it's right and it can be magic. But know your limits, and the phrase respect the crest, I mean, makes more sense than ever.
Right. Like, there's a reason they say that. I mean, and that's Ryan, like I was thinking about that concept today when I was at the track, because that was one of the most like surprising realizations for me when I first started doing high performance driving, was realizing like, hey, we're all dependent on each other to monitor our like focus and energy levels and all of that. And so I kind of came up with some like guidelines for myself, like, hey, if I catch myself thinking about anything but the track twice in a session, like go off and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
Or something like that. And it's like you said, I think there's an element of like, when you're younger, you don't want to acknowledge, like you said, maybe you're having an off day, or like maybe you're just not feeling it. I think as you get older, you're more willing to go like, all right, I can come back another day.
Yeah.
I was doing some track stuff in that Radford school. It was in the afternoon after lunch, 108 degrees, and I wasn't feeling it, so I just pulled out and just went into the pits, and I don't think a younger me would have done that.
No, same.
Getting older, wiser.
But no smarter.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I've had, it used to be like going to the track, it was like I had to drive every minute of every session and get my money's worth and maximize the time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're on top of it. But as I've gotten older, I've sort of given myself permission, like, hey, if I'm flagging, nobody wins if I make myself go out for the last session, or I, force myself to finish it. Like, one more lap isn't necessarily a positive.
Yeah.
So this weekend, there are quite a few things going on.
Right.
Lindsey, I think you're representing in Seattle. Is that right?
That's right. Avance is having their Classics on the Green, and it's the 5th annual event at Chateau Saint Michel Winery. So I will be checking it out.
Yeah, it's a good event, and I know that, I'm not sure these have been announced, but a Steve McQueen car will be there.
That's exciting.
A Myers Manx Steve McQueen car, which would be pretty cool. I know the folks at Nilu are bringing a car up.
And we got to see that car at the LA Auto Show.
We did, and me, Sasha, and is it Sasha and his wife?
Yes, Ina.
Ina, super nice people, lovely
they
people.
Were great. That's a whole story. If you don't know this car, the Nilu, like, there's this guy, there's this couple. Like, hell, I'm going to build my own supercar. And they did.
Who did he work for before? Was it Pagani?
That sounds right, and that probably helps. Or was it Koenigsegg? I can't remember. It was something like that, right? So he didn't come in with like a blank slate. He didn't design this thing on an Etch-a-Sketch, right? It
wasn't the back of a napkin in an Arby's.
Right? But still, like that's a thing people used to do. People don't do that anymore, but he did. They did.
That's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Really
so that'll be good. Ryan, what are you up to this weekend? Much?
God, I don't even know. I've got my sister and her family coming into town, so probably not a whole lot of driving. Probably doing some tourist things instead.
They probably want to see your new special road. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
All right, everyone, pile in the 7-seater rental SUV. We're going to a road that starts with a T. They will never come back.
You're going to take the long way to the zoo.
That's
right.
Detour. That's right.
I didn't quite realize how far LA is to Laguna Seca. So it's just over 5 hours on a good trip. So this weekend I'll be trekking up and I'll probably spend more time in the car than I will at the track, but it'll be worth it because I'm going to go to Moto America, which will be the second one of the season I'll have been to, and see some superbikes ripping, and it should be good fun.
Nice,
well, Laguna Seca, like that whole area is just so magical, and Laguna Seca is such a great track. And it is, like you said, it is a proper road trip.
Yeah.
And it'll be good scouting for Car Week, because that's going to be. I think we're 29 days away from Car Week. Can you believe it?
Get out of town.
You know how much I have to do before Car Week?
Like we were saying before we started, there are not enough hours in the day.
No, it's going to be here before we.
There's interesting stuff I'm hearing. I'm hearing maybe an electric British car.
Okay.
Gordon Murray has said he's bringing some special editions.
Okay. To
the Crail.
Yeah.
What else? I think they're the main ones I can talk about that I've heard about.
Speaking of gatekeeping.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes.
if you guys think people are funny about roads, wait till you get to events at Car Week. Boy, that is a whole shebang.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to for the callback.
Yeah. I will say most people have been very, very kind to us. Others, we'll get there.
Right.
So who do we need to thank in advance? I know that Motorsport, the Monterey Motorsport Festival, have been very kind to us.
Concorso Italiano.
Bonhams and RM Sotheby's.
Yep.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The rest of you get with it.
I was looking at some of the auction items, and the one that I think sounds really cool is the folks at Mecum are auctioning a 70s Dino. Oh. And this Dino in period had the track or the record for driving the Cannonball.
Oh, really?
So, so that's one I want to check out for sure.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Do we like the Dino? I mean, of course we like the Dino, but what I don't like about the Dino is it's now a very expensive car that not that long ago was five-figure car. Yeah.
I know. I think, some things find you. So when I first started going to Car Week regularly again, I think in 2021, Dinos were everywhere. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but they kept finding me. I would turn around and there's one. And so I have a soft spot for them. Plus they're just so cute in all their bright colors.
They are. Either one of you driven one?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm open to it.
Yeah, I think I might get a chance here soon. So we'll see. I got to fit in the thing though.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like driving a Dino to motivate your health and fitness journey.
It's a grease up the side.
What prompted you to get in shape? Well,
yeah. I thought it was going to be Car Week, but that hasn't played out like I'd hoped. So it's been another year of sweating on the
promise
green
of the Dino.
pebble.
Yeah, with Cindy Crawford.
Right. Shoot. Anyway.
I love it. Yeah. It's a good time.
Can't wait.
Show? Is there anything else we wanted to talk about?
I feel like we should end on something uplifting. Maybe it'll be this. Maybe the plea to our listeners. It's very important that you like and comment on every platform.
Like and subscribe.
Apparently, we're really taking off on YouTube, which is great. But don't forget about us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It is not the listens, it's not the downloads that get us on the charts. It is the likes and more than ever the comments, as we learned earlier today. So please take a moment and make sure you do that. Follow us on all platforms, comment, rate, review, all that kind of stuff. We appreciate it very much.
Share your thoughts on all of the topics that we have covered today.
Right.
Absolutely.
What's Lindsey going to have on the side of her car?
Right.
Yes.
What do we think about whether these best kept secrets should stay best kept secrets?
Yeah. How do we feel about Dinos?
How do we feel about Dinos?
Who hates a Dino? All right, let's be.
There was a purple one. I mean, it still exists, but there was one that was kind of making the rounds, and I think Broad Arrow was auctioning it 2 years ago, and it was just the cutest thing ever.
There you go.
I love
what you want. You want a cute Ferrari.
Right? Cute purple Ferrari. What's not to love?
All right.
Well, I think that's a show. So
thanks, guys.
Until next week.
Always
be driving.
There you go.
Thanks, everyone.